Hi and Assalamualaikum. We are from class BA1113G and today we are going to explain macroeconomic problem, the inflation rate in the United States. Before we start, here are our team members. Ainul Mardia, Ros Fatini Izzati, Mia Arisa, Nurul Akila Maisarah.
Background of the United States. The United States of America is a country located in North America. It is a country with the world's third largest land area and third largest population with over 340 million people. The United States is influential in politics, economy, technology and culture. Its diversity, infrastructure and education make it globally powerful. Next, the economy of the United States. The United States has the greatest economy in terms of GDP and has been one of the highest ranking countries in terms of GDP per capita. The service sector is the dominant sector as it contributes more than 3/4 to the economy and provides around 79% of employment opportunities. It also a major contributor of agriculture products such as corn, wheat and soybean. Now I will talk about the inflation of the United States. In the United States, the inflation rate has shown up and down in the several years since COVID-19 pandemic. According to the National Bureau of Economic Research, a sharp rise in the inflation rate happened in 2021. In February 2021, it's 1.7%, in June 2021, it's more than 5%, and in June 2022, it's peaking to 9%. The main area cause is disruption of food supply, tight labor market, and rising wages rate. The inflation caused increased production costs and rising prices of goods and services. As a result, the cost of living has increased and purchasing power has decreased. This study aimed to identify the problem and effect of inflation and the government steps and policies to address this issue.
Now, I'm going to explain the causes of inflation in the United States. The first cause is expansionary monetary policy. During and after the COVID-19 pandemic, the Federal Reserve kept interest rate low and increased the money supply to help the economy recover. This made it easier for people and businesses to spend and invest. However, when spending increased too much and supply could not keep up, prices start to rise. According to economists from Stanford University, this increase in money supply play a big role in the rise of inflation. In fact, inflation in the United States went above 8% in 2022 before slowing down to around 2.7% by the end of 2025. The second cause is global supply chain disruption. During the pandemic, many factories and ports around the world were closed or delayed. This caused shortage of goods and raw material. Even though demand was still high, because there were fewer goods available, prices increased. The Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco also reported that supply chain problems were one of the main reasons inflation increased in 2021 and 2022. And the third cause is rising energy and fuel prices. When oil and gas prices go up, transportation and production costs also increase. Business then raise their prices to cover these higher costs. According to Investopedia, this situation is known as cost-push inflation. These rising costs not only increased prices, but also affected employment.
Next, we will talk about effects of inflation in United States. So the inflation in the United States between 2021 and 2023 caused several important effects on households. One of the main effects is the increase in the cost of living. During this period, prices of basic necessities such as food, housing, healthcare, and energy increased significantly. The inflation rate reached its peak at 9.1% in June 2022, which was the highest level in almost 4 decades. This means that households had to spend more money to maintain the same standard of living. Inflation did not only affect imported goods but also domestic goods and services, making daily expenses more expensive for American families. Another major effect of inflation is the decline in purchasing power. Although wages increased slightly, the growth of income was not fast enough to match the rapid rise in consumer prices. As a result, real income decreased and consumers were able to afford fewer goods and services than before. This problem was more serious for low and middle income households as they spent a larger proportion for their income on basic necessities.
Now I will explain the policy used by the United States to control inflation. Economic policy is a guideline established by the government to regulate and stabilize the economy. In 2012, the United States set an inflation target of around 2% per year. This target helped maintain long-term economic stability and allow the Federal Reserve to make effective decisions without political pressure. When inflation becomes high, the United States apply contractionary policies. This policy involve reduced fiscal and monetary stimulus that may increase demand. Taking early action is important because delaying decision can make worse inflation and make it harder to control. The most important policy used by the United States is interest rate control by the Federal Reserve. By increasing interest rate, borrowing and consumer spending decrease. As a result, demand in the economy is reduced, which help control inflation more quickly and effectively.
In conclusion, the United States has a strong economy but face inflation challenge after the COVID-19 pandemic. This inflation negatively affect the economy and people's life. However, effective policies can help maintain the country's economic strength.
That's all from us for ECO211 about the inflation surge of United States. Thank you.